All right, hope everybody's doing good. We're back with another edition of Casey Music Talk. Today I am here with a teacher and string player here in Kansas City. I'm very excited about this conversation.
Hi,
Jackie
Rob.
Lee,
Hello.
how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So first of all, you're a teacher in town, but you obviously as a kid did not start out as a teacher. You're kind of a player, obviously,
Yeah.
in school and whatever, I'm sure. Tell us a little bit about growing up and learning music and like taking lessons and all that stuff. So how'd you get started?
I started violin when I was 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I started my violin is because my mother had always wanted to play a musical instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And I think back when she was a kid, their family didn't have the financial power for her to do that. So she made sure, she let her children to be able to have the environment to play the instrument. So I started my violin when I was 5 years old, and then I in the country I come from is Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have those elementary school, middle school, and high school geared towards. It's almost like a college already.
Mm-hmm.
You already know what you want to. Be a musician in the future. So I went to one. I got in one of those elementary school. So it was a lot of practicing and everything, and I started to experiment viola when I was 15. Play both, and I end up love the voice of viola because I feel like that's viola is the voice which closest to the human voice, the range of the human voice. Violin could be very up high and very play a lot of embellishment, but viola is very singing and very songful. Yeah, and so
the first position range of a viola is exactly my voice. Being a bass, I was checking that out the other day because I can hit almost a C and then up to that's just
yes.
But I totally agree with that. The voice thing, strings in general are so singing.
Yes. Yeah. So I end up pursue viola performance in my college. So that's about the little background of me. Viola wise, string playing wise.
Sure. Yeah. So here's a question for you, and I don't really know what I'm talking about right now, but I've heard that, and I don't remember what country it was. It might have been Korea or Japan. They were talking. Somebody was talking about like placement tests that happen like out of high school, where they basically like tell you what you're gonna be. You're gonna be engineer. You're gonna be musician. You're gonna and so that's really interesting compared to America because nobody does that in America. I mean, you get to totally choose everything, and it doesn't like you were talking. So how does that work? Do you like? So you're talking about like you're getting sent down a path at like 8 years old, right? And you're going on this music. Yes. I mean, this music school that's geared towards music. Yes. Do you like? So how does that work with all of the other like math and how does like?
I don't know. I think that it's
at least
very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting culture. I still remember we had a culture in Taiwan, which when baby about 1 year old, we actually place a lot of different objects in front of them.
Right.
We have a pen, calculator, I don't know, violin, and I don't know, specula.
Yeah, right.
See if you ever be a chef.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, all that different stuff. Screwdriver.
Yeah, screwdriver.
And then we let them crawl through the path, and then they don't know anything. I mean, they're gonna pick the one which interests them the most. And we have a ceremony like that, just to see, what kind of interest this baby has. And then when they pick up a calculator, we'll be like, he's gonna be this baby is gonna be a businessman in the future. If they pick up, I don't know, helmet. They might be a, I don't know, architect or
Yeah,
something
right.
like that. So we, I don't know, like we maybe it's a culture or something. We like to kind of predict, like guess, like what the baby is interested, what the children is interested to. But I don't know when I was about the elementary school age. I mean, they had those kind of school there, and I was actually I started my violin with one of my neighborhood teacher, and actually I was kind of one of the best student he has. I mean, my parents would I still remember my parents would practice with me 30 minutes, very disciplined,
Yeah.
and so my teacher, the neighborhood teacher would told me, hey, he's pretty talented, you might want to look for something more. Okay, that's when my parents started to think about, like, hey, is there anything more than, and I have to say, like, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago, music is very, we're talking about all the orchestras, all the, I know all, there's a lot of teachers just came back from Europe or United States or US, they came back to Taiwan. We didn't have a lot of teachers, so those teachers are automatically become the professor in the university, or you can tell a lot of orchestra looking for musicians to play. So a lot of professional orchestra, if you're decent conservatory students, you get a job, no problem.
Yeah, wow.
So back then, when my mom was thinking, okay, so if there's a good gift that I can give it to the children, maybe I should give him something, a skill that looks like it's pretty, pretty, I mean, at least you can live your life comfortably, not have to worry much, and doing the thing that you love. Yeah. So my mom sent me. That's how I started. My music education, and more professional on a more professional side. Like when I was 7, 8 year old.
Right.
And then I remember after I finished my elementary school, my mom asked me, "Do you want to continue? We can go to the regular." Middle school, or we can continue this route. And
Yeah, wow.
I actually chose to continue. I have to say, in the beginning stage of, I mean, a lot of parents ask me this, like, when do you start to like playing your instrument? Okay, because violin, string instrument is a kind of instrument that when you started, I have to say, piano is hard too. I mean, at the end, everything is hard.
Right.
But piano is a little bit easier to start, to get the satisfaction of achievement, because, like, unless you sit on the piano, everything is tuned. You can make something too ugly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, even you do that, it's not gonna be too bad. My 4-year son just play hot potato with one finger. But for violin, it could be like squeaky, and in
torture.
yeah, exactly. In Chinese, we call that dark chicken killing. Yeah. So it's not easy to get a satisfaction out of it. In the beginning stage. So I tell all my students' parents, in the beginning, it takes discipline. Yes, of course, like sometimes the parents will come to me, hey, my son saw the violin and viola, he was the one who wants to play it.
Right.
He want to be a violinist. But the thing is, at that stage, they didn't know the procedure, the hard work, the discipline, 30 minutes of playing, and you have to, go through all those hurdles of, problem solving, sometimes frustration of this and that. They didn't know any of that. Yeah. So in the beginning, and it's very easy for beginning student to say, after 2 weeks of playing, they say, no, I'm not interested. I don't want to do this anymore, because, I mean, sometimes they feel something challenging. And this is one that they were expecting. They were expecting automatically to be able to play Twinkle or something, right away. So when things did not come to their expectation, sometimes they back up. They want to say, I don't want to do this. But I have to thank my parents, because I did have that stage too in the beginning. And I remember my mom told me, yes, okay, but you don't know what's playing violin yet.
Yeah.
So she actually had, we actually didn't, we have something similar to Suzuki method. It's also another method by another Japanese pedagogue. But I use another set of book. In Taiwan, we also have like 8 books. My mom said, okay, you have to finish book 1.
Yeah.
If you finish book 1, you still don't like it, okay, you can quit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she gave you a deal.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So before, I think it took me about a year and a half to finish book 1. I think book 1 is always the longest because you're starting from nothing.
Right.
You know? And book 2, book 3 goes faster. Yeah. But it took me a year and a half, and so it allows me not to judge the instrument of 2 weeks of practicing. It allows me to look back from where I didn't know anything. And I think by the time I finished book 1, I already had 3 performances, studio performance.
Sure.
You know, so I feel the achievement of, hey, you know, like people come to me and say, hey, good job, you know, you're pretty good. So I feel good.
Yeah. Right.
And I can proudly tell people, yes, I work hard.
Yeah.
You know, so that's an achievement. I mean, you already been through all that, and so you start to, you know, think back. It's not too bad. You know, from where you come from, you start to feel. So my mom actually asked me again. My mom is, I have to thank my parents for, you know, like giving me choices. But they don't just give you a choice right from the beginning.
Right.
You know, they want you to try, because they understand if they let you quit in the future. If anything gets too challenging, you can easily say, oh, I don't like it.
So they kind of like made you try it, but then after it was sort of more of a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that kind of,
yeah, exactly.
Because at the beginning you could just say no.
Yeah.
And then it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
right,
so
yeah,
easy
yeah,
to say no. You know,
Right,
it's the easier way. Hey, I wanna play flute.
Right.
I wanna play trumpet.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing is, I think you don't even know what playing violin is like yet.
Yeah. So you said a bunch of stuff that was interesting. So that happens a ton because everybody sees the yo-yo ma's and whatever, and then but they don't. Do you know what a montage is? Like in a movie where they show a huge amount of time in like 3 minutes. You know, they show all these little stages, but you only see it for like 3 minutes.
Yes.
They don't see the Yo-Yo Ma for 30 years of all the crap that he had to do. All these, you know, stupid scales and all this work, and we just want the end part. You know, and I think that's everybody. I mean, everybody just wants to get it easier than having to go through all the work, of course. But so you were talking about playing so early, and I always want all of the students to start earlier because all of that kind of hard time is time that they're kind of not even going to remember anyway, sort of, you know. I mean, what do you remember about 5 years old? Nothing. Right? I don't remember anything, you know. So getting them to start earlier, but what I always tell them is that all that practicing and starting early, you were talking about the motivation of yourself, is that when you go through all of that, I don't think the motivation just happens. Like, people don't just like it. I think one of the reasons why people like it is because they're feeling that oh, I'm actually kind of good at this. You know, that's where I kind of disagree with a lot of other teachers. They want everything to just be fun. You know, they just want, as long as the kid feels good. And I just don't agree with that. I think that, like, one of the reasons why you get the motivation is because you're actually good at it. You know, because you've actually gone through the non-fun, that leads to the fun later, you know. And so, like, and the other thing that I wonder about that is that you were talking about laying out all the possibilities in front of you. I think in America, everybody has either one of two ideas. They either want you to do the one thing and then you like do that and that's your thing, or you have the multi kind of idea where you're like, I'm sorry to say it, but not really great at anything, but you're kinda okay at everything, you know? And I know a lot of friends like that they could do a lot of different jobs. Their brain is just geared to be a secretary and of this and of that. And my problem is that is really useful to be good at a lot of things, but who plays in the symphony that started at 20 years old? Zero. It's zero people that
not
started at
anyone
20
I know.
years old that
Yeah.
are in the symphony. You to play college soccer, you got to kind of start as a young kid. You know, you got to kind of play a lot of soccer to get, you know.
Yes.
What so I don't even know really what my question is, but you were like, do you think it's really good for kids to kind of start really young and kind of make themselves push through a little bit, or like that's where I'm at as a teacher, is the making part.
Yeah.
You know, that's where I'm struggling, because
Yeah.
you and I know what kind of benefits you can get from just, you know, telling them to suck it up a little bit and quit whining about it and keep doing it, because we know how good it is for them. What do you think about that, of the making the kid or whatever? I mean, you touched on that a little earlier.
Yes. Well,
like as the teacher or the parent, either one. I mean,
yeah, I think there is a huge benefit when you start instrument at a young age. It's like language. You know, it's I mean, while their brain is still making connection, you know, if you throw them music, okay, it's going to be part of, you know, you know, when their brain is formatting, it's developing, it's going to be part of their processing, you know, system. So it's a language too, you know, like if you, my son, I took him back to Taiwan this summer. Before I mean for actually 2 months, this summer, before he went back to Taiwan, maybe not so much, you know, like he speak okay Chinese, but he was fluent when he come back. You know, I couldn't describe how much he about reading, writing, speaking. I mean, that's like 2 semester worth of if you send an adult to take Chinese class, okay, that's 2 semester worth of work. But a kid, you know, you put them in the environment, they start making friends. You know, I still remember when I came here was 15. I was not young enough. I mean, I sit through my math class. I didn't know a word of English. I sat through my math, history, everything. And it was so long. I feel 15 minutes class was like forever, because I couldn't understand a word.
Wow.
Yeah, but you know, it becomes like, I start to become catching the keywords, and the conversation becomes like, hey, a little slower, you know, because I understand more words. It still took me a year or 2, but I have seen very, very young kids, you put them in elementary school, 2 weeks later they're making friends with English and all that. Music is like that too. You know, I like solfege. I teach my kids solfege when they are 2-year-old, because it becomes like the ABCD. You know, I sing do re mi do mi do mi, right? All that. So they now, you know, now it's like without knowing it, they sing the pitch's name automatically in solfege. You know, they sing everything. Ti, fi, fa, fa, re, re. I mean, sometimes people say, hey, you know, like people from Asian student has more Asian student has perfect pitch. I think it's not so much, in my opinion, it's not so much of we're born with perfect pitch. But maybe we're introduced so early that it becomes part of our ABCD. Right. You know, you hear E, me, you know, it's perfect pitch, because the name, the pitch, everything, it's in part of, it's part of this. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's the benefit of starting people, you know, starting young age. Now, of course, you know, like I don't want to say, hey, if you don't start at 5 years, you're too late. Right. Because it's, I mean, that's the advantage, you know, and I have also seen cases, like for example, I can give you right off my head. My brother is also a violist. He's a viola professor at UMKC now. His teacher, Pony Bar at Juilliard School of Music. Okay, he's now teaching there, but he I think he won the biggest viola competition when he was 17. And he was the viola principal of the New York Philharmonic when he was 19. Yeah, that's serious. Yeah. And he started viola. This is according to Scott. He started viola when he was 9. Yeah. 9-year-old I mean, he didn't know piano, he didn't know violin, straight from viola. Yeah. So that means it took him, I don't know, 8
Yeah.
years to win the biggest competition. We're talking about competing people who are 30-year-old,
Yeah.
40-year-old professional.
Really good.
Yeah. I mean, they have been playing their instrument for like 30 years. Okay. Or, you know, like if you go to New York Philharmonic, I mean, 19-year-old getting the first chair of the.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. And it took him, I don't know, 9 years, 10 years of playing to, you know, so there are cases, you know, I mean, like that. I know the violin professor, Benny Kim at the UMKC. I mean, he started violin when he was like 13 or something. I mean, we're talking about compared to like a 5-year-old, 6. I mean, there are advantage, but the thing is, it's not like a requirement you have to.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe what I could change about my sentence there is that anybody who plays college soccer has to at some point commit to it.
Yes.
You know, like emotionally practicing, mentally, you know. And so I agree with you about the age is not the problem. It's the level of commitment has to happen at some point. And maybe it's not that you have to literally practice all day and then you don't eat.
Yeah.
Just you know, it doesn't have to be like that, but you have to like make some sort of commitment. And so that's when, as a teacher, I'm annoyed when, if anybody would say that, well, I'm not getting better, I'm like, what do you want me to do? You know, it's like, you know, you haven't, and as a teacher, I've been annoyed at kids being in, like I was talking about, they're in soccer and taekwondo and scouts and that.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, you got your time split in like 19 things. What do you expect? You know, you're going to be crappy at all of them, you know, it's, you know, and that's harsh. You know, I was telling you beforehand, I'm not, you know, I'm kind of harsh with my words sometimes, but that's, so one of the things that I've been thinking about with motivating kids is like, when you have the kid that is, maybe not that his parents made him, and maybe he likes the violin, but he doesn't want to do any practicing and whatever. And I can tell that I can just, at least right now, this doesn't seem like this is going anywhere. Like the lessons, he kind of likes me, I guess, you know, and he kind of likes the violin, but, and so when I get to like that 7th, 8th grade type of kid, and I'm getting to a point where I need to start teaching him, if he's going to keep going, I need to teach him like vibrato, for example.
Okay.
And vibrato is, the only exercises I know how to do vibrato are really annoying and they're boring and they're horrible and like, so I'm at a point where I have a decision to make where he doesn't look like he's really trying that hard or what, you know, over the last year, he doesn't look like he's trying. And so should I force vibrato on him at that point, you know, force him to do these annoying, you know, these annoying exercises and stuff? That's what I don't know, is how to judge when that's a good idea, because I want to talk about our lessons in a minute, but when I came into you could tell, you know, this guy's asking for technique. Let's go there, you know, let's work the posture and go deep. But this kid is a different story, you know. He's not asking for vibrato. He doesn't care about his posture and all that, you know. Like, do you sit there and force the vibrato on him, or do you, like, you know? Do you know what I'm trying to ask?
Yes,
you
I
know,
do.
like,
I do. Yes. You know, I have to, as a teacher, this is, you know, like what I believe. In order to be able to play beautiful music, to be a good player, to be good in your instrument, technique is very important. I mean, we're talking about fundamental.
Right.
Yeah. You know, take a look at those tennis players. If they miss a serve, what do? They come back and just do a couple practice shots, walking back. Why do they do that? They don't just, you know, I mean, they follow through, couple stroke, just make sure next time the technique is there. Because they are thinking, while they're walking back, they're thinking, which part did it go wrong?
Right.
I mean, that's what you know, I mean, you see professional musicians, They do that all the time. I mean, you think Hillary Hunt is playing Brahms, you know, like or the Dvorak concerto like all the time and running to no. She actually, I have this is a good recommendation for you know like anyone who actually watching the video. She actually has a blog. I don't know if she's still doing, but it's so good of her. And a lot of professional soloists. I mean, all they want you to see is their performance. I mean, they don't want you to hear how they, you know, their practice, slow practice, out of tune, or this or here. But you know, Hillary Hunt actually started a series of practice video on her blog.
What's her name?
Hillary Hunt.
Hillary Hunt.
Yeah, yeah. She would you know, she practiced at airport. She would film like 3 minutes of this, just finger exercise here and there. And let me tell you, like 99% of the clip is about slow practicing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about, you know, like break things apart, this and that, and technique. She would, you know, while she didn't do anything at airport, she would put down her finger just like that. You know, watch for her. And then she would also put comment, you know, on her practice clip, saying, you know, watching my bow speed, making sure my vibrato, you know, like watching for my vibrato's intensity or this and that. But you see, someone who are playing so much, it should be, you know, they should be able to play while they're asleep.
Yeah.
Why do they think about those things all the time? Because it matters.
It matters, yeah.
It determines a good player. I mean, still someone is playing already, you know, like a 30 years of solo performance, this and that, but they are still thinking about how they drop their finger. You know, why would I waste my time thinking about it if it doesn't affect my performance?
Right.
Yeah, okay, they are not spending the. I know playing through is fun, but the thing is, what makes it good is the technique. So, as a teacher, if anyone comes to me and say, "Hey, can you help me to become a good violinist?"
Here's what you need to do.
I can.
Yeah.
And you know, the first thing is, I mean, yes, at the end we're talking about being able to be expressive with the music, but we need to give you enough tool to do that. You know, I still remember that. Doesn't matter what kind of note you're playing, okay? It's the way you're saying it. And we need to give you a good voice.
Yeah.
Good voice comes from good technique.
Yeah.
I still remember.
How do you do that without a good bow grip?
Yes.
You know what I mean? How do you express yourself when you're all, you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I always tell my student that, I mean, it's like, I mean, there might be like, I don't know, 30, 40 things on the textbook, you know, on the book. And the textbook, if you can do everything on the list, we're talking about like starting from curve, you know, good ball hold, curve your thumb and pinky, all that. If you can do everything on the list, it's hard for you to not to make a good sound.
Yeah, it's hard.
You know,
it's hard to not.
I mean,
play
if
good,
everything, if you, I mean, my teacher always say, if you look good, most likely you're gonna sound good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
that's
it's math. You know, I sometimes judging so many competition or auditions. I have to tell you, a lot of time before student play, I can already predict what kind of performance I will be.
That's funny.
Here, you know, if you hear someone who is, you know, like that, before they play, you know they're going to produce pretty good sound on the instrument. But you see someone who is, you know, yeah, exactly, and you know, it would be a miracle.
How about when they walk in the room like this, before they even get their instrument out? They're
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, but you know, it's also, you know, like I think many a lot of people ask me, you know, are your students all going to be a music major?
Right.
Are they all going to, you know, like become music, you know, like a major in music? They're gonna become soloists or professional? No, I have to tell you, 80% of my students, or at least the student who comes to, you know, our festival or school of music, you know, they are not majoring in music. Probably 20% of them, you know, they
are really committed.
Yeah, exactly, and they want more from
Right.
the instrument, and become something that they want for their, you know, career.
Right.
Yeah, but 80%. Why would people? I mean, those 80% of students. I mean, why would they still finish? You know, they finish well. You know, they finish their high school and they bring the skill with them. You know, like why do they? You know, I mean, what kind of thing that? What are they looking for?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you ask me, music is, of course, it's a vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, music is a vehicle to develop your creativity, your discipline. All right, the way you know how to present yourself. Okay. For example, you were talking about walking in.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is a presentation. I mean, if you can have a great presentation in your recital, you know, I mean, we're talking about starting from, you know, going smile.
Yeah.
Sometimes I ask my student to announce, talk a little bit about their piece, talk about the difficulty a little bit of, you know, the piece, what kind of goal they're achieving with this performance. And then people clap, they smile. When people come to say, hey, it was so good. Thank you, I worked very hard.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about the whole experience of how I, you know, build up, and I set a goal for myself, I achieve it. And when the good result comes, I feel good because, you know, I work hard. Yeah. So the whole thing, you know, we are developing a good lifelong learning habit. Okay, for you to bring it to, if you can present well in your recital, you can present well in your interviews.
Yeah, sure.
You know, in your
so you said the slow practice is another example of the vibrato thing. So you and I know, if you want this, slow practice 10 times right in a row, work on the vibrato, the bow grip, you know, so we know that if you want this, these are the 30 things you just mentioned, you know, this is what you have to do. My annoyance is when they don't want that. Like you just said, right? Obviously, you know, you have the 20% and 80%, and so and then you mentioned something else really good that I've kind of been thinking about too. If the, you know, Juilliard School of Music Symphony and stuff is not their goal, then what is their goal? And you mentioned a bunch of them, learning the self-discipline and the carrying yourself and the pride and like so I want to sometimes focus on that. If I can tell that this kid, New York Symphony is not happening, you know, it's just never going to happen with him, but can they get something out of this? Yes. You know, like, and so that's kind of where my problem is coming down to, is how do I get the kid over in this category, first of all, and then if they're not going to go in that category, how can I make this the best I can for them? And so the other one that I heard the other day with a student, I've shared this on the thing before, is that one of my parents that I had said, I'm glad you're here because my son does not have somebody in his life like you. And I thought that was it really made me feel good. I mean, and I think what she meant was that his father, which they were divorced, but his father is not passionate like me. I think what she was trying to get at, he's not artsy, he's not creative, he doesn't let out his feelings. He was a really opposite personality from me. I think that's what she meant, but that made me realize that, that's what this is right now with this student. I'm a role model. It's not about this. It's not about the 20% kids anymore. It's that I'm being a good role model to him. Oh, okay. You know, I kind of like rethought of what this is during this lesson right now. Seeing somebody who is passionate, who is hardworking, who cares about the little tiny things. This. Not this, but, you know, I mean, the petty, stupid little stuff.
Yes.
How important that is in life. I was joking with somebody the other day. Well, is this recipe tablespoon of salt or is it teaspoon? You know, big deal, right?
Yes.
I mean, one little letter, TSP or TBSP. You know, well, your meal sucks. If you put too much, you know, you miss one letter. I mean, your meal tastes horrible. It matters, right? I mean, all the little stuff matters a lot. And so I guess where I'm hearing other teachers talk about is you can't force them over to here, you know, and that annoys me. You know, I'm just being honest, you know, but. So I guess, I mean, so is it sort of like the letting go as a teacher? I mean, I don't know, like.
You know, more and more as a teacher, I start to learn. Every student is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you ask me, I have students who, I mean the students who goes to Juilliard and winning all the competitions. I mean they are the one who is thirsty for how I can become better. I mean the technique that you mentioned. I mean I have this student who constantly, is my hand okay? Do you think my bow hole looks okay? And then I have to be the one who say, hey, sometimes you have to look away and just enjoy the music. Don't.
They're too far.
Yeah,
They're too far.
Yeah, but I have to say those things makes, it's the reason he's at Juilliard and but I mean we're talking about we have students who sometimes I've encouraged them to maybe step away and just enjoy the music because we're talking about technique and music. They have to kind of coexist. Sometimes one teach the other. Yeah. And I also have students like what I'm talking about extremely. They are every time we talk about I talk about technique. I can see their face goes like, I mean they want to. I mean they want to play songs. But the things exactly what to be able to play this, make the song better. You have to fix your pinky. You have to fix your. That's the solution. And I think more and more, and some like we're talking about practice. Some kids they do practice, but the thing is maybe they didn't practice right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
efficiently.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or some. I mean, of course, you have students who are quicker, more natural on things, and you're a student who try so hard, and still, But I start to. My bottom line is, at least, you don't want to kill the love.
Yes. Yeah.
There is a balance between,
Mm-hmm.
you still want them to feel good. So I start to learn how much to give them. Like I used to be the teacher who were like, I have to make all my students, be able to play Tchaikovsky, and I know exactly the way. So I'm going to, but I think at the end, they have to know why those are for. Okay, I mean, for example, you're giving them the best thing. It would be your life would be easier to sit there and say, hey, let's play this piece 20 times. It's but I know who wants to go through that 20 minutes of adjusting your hand.
Zero people.
Looking at a student who like, I mean, as a teacher, easier time. But so I tell all my students, the good teachers spend time to go through those with you.
Right.
Because they know what matters.
Right.
And if you ask me, with all my 30, 40, 30 years of teaching, 40 years of playing, I can already tell you, I already know the solution. Yeah. So, like sometimes for example, for practice, I would tell student, okay, so I know exactly the solution for this. Okay, it's like you go to, sometimes I give them example. If you're sick, you try to find the best doctor in town. And people say, oh, that doctor is the best. So you go to the doctor. The doctor say, okay, I know the solution. You know what? You have this and that. You need antibiotic. 10 days, twice a day. Okay, and you go home, you say, okay, I'm just gonna take one antibiotic every 2 days. So I asked them, I said, do you think, I mean, doesn't matter what kind of good doctor you go to. If you don't follow the prescription, no one can cure.
Yeah.
And then there's no, doesn't matter where you go. Okay, so I
That's
said,
funny you talk about it as a cure.
well, sometimes they have it.
I know.
Technique. It is. So you want to fix them. I mean, once you fix them, they're gonna go back to their orchestra. Even their colleague couldn't recognize. Sometimes you haven't seen the kid for 3 months, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, sounds like a different player. What did you do? Oh, I fixed my left hand. I was doing this 200 times during my summer a day. Yeah, I mean, there are like a lot of cases like that. Yeah, but as a teacher, very well this is what. But the thing is, it's like the example I tell you, you go to a good teacher, the best teacher in town. I mean, what can the teacher do? oh, I know your problem. This is the solution. This is what you're gonna do. But if you don't go home and sometimes I tell them that like a new technique take 2,000 times.
Yeah.
Because every time you do a right thing, your brain is taking a mental picture.
Yeah.
Okay. But the hard thing is you have to take it slow, because if you do it too quick, your body will right away automatically go back to the more comfortable way that you have. So what happens is your brain has is establishing a neural pathway to do things. It used to go there. Now you have to be slow enough that once you think about doing this,
Force it over
you
to the other
take
way.
it to this way. If you just it's gonna go there. Now, so you have to start to we have a saying called use it or lose it. If you don't use this, you're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
But you use that, let's say you do 2,000 times. It takes 2,000. There's no shortcut. You just need 2,000 times. It's like putting coins in the piggy bank.
Yeah.
You need to fill up the piggy bank in order to have the technique.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
So I tell them, whenever you have time, take out your money and put few coins into the piggy bank, like the vibrato. I said, you just have to trust me. Just pretend you go to a good doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna take the antibiotic.
Right. Yeah.
So I sometimes you kind of, I used to be like, no, you didn't practice. You have to, you have to practice. If you don't practice, I don't know what to do. I start to try to, more direct them in a way that, like I start to feel like, for example, the description, the example I gave you. Some of my students start to know, okay, either I do this or I don't have it. Yeah, yes, I come to, and sometimes parents need to know that too. I know sometimes, I sometimes correct my parents. Sometimes they say, they would accidentally say, my daughter will have to miss her practice today. I said, no, it's not practice. The practice is at home. This is lesson.
This is lesson.
Yeah.
Not
they
practice.
don't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they feel I'm practicing. I say my.
Yes.
I come here to practice. So I tell them, like the lesson is more like, how the lesson works. You come here, I give you knowledge. Okay, what is right, what is wrong, what did you do right, what did you do wrong, and I make sure you know it well enough that when you go home you can reproduce what you got in the lesson. So knowing all that in the lesson, that's what I call knowledge. Okay. Yes, I know I have to be straight, bow straight to get a good sound. But does that mean I have the knowledge? Yes, I know I have to do this in order to swim. But if I don't go to swimming pool, this is just talking.
Yeah.
Knowing. You have to do that. But it's that, so you go home, you need 2,000 times of repetition. That's practice. That's make your knowledge. Put in piggy bank, your coin into the piggy bank. There is no shortcut in order to have the technique. You need 2,000 times repetition. It's not like, I know it. No, you don't. That's just know
it's just talking.
Exactly. It's me saying bow straight. Yeah.
Right.
But the thing is like, until that, after the 2,000 times, you don't even need to think about it. It's there. Then that's when you call it a skill.
Right. Give me 1 second here.
Yes.
I'm going to actually grab my violin.
Yep.
Hold on. You grab that violin out of there, please. You said something interesting about killing the love or whatever, and that's, I think I was speaking about those other teachers that are all about the happy fun time and make sure they like it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I go too far on the other side where I'm forcing the vibrato and forcing all the 10 times right and stuff. And I get to a point where I need to have a balance there too. I had two students, and they both went, this is a couple of years ago, and they both went to the regular, they both went to the competition, and they both ended up getting 3s, and which is rough, it's not that great. And so the one, I think they got a pretty rough judge too. He was not giving, 2 1s the whole day, but regardless, the one kid was like, oh heck no, this isn't happening again. And the very next year he came back and got a 1, you know. I mean, he was annoyed. He was really annoyed that he got a 3. And he came back and he's like, oh no, hell no, you know, and like I'm gonna, and the other kid quit, you know. And so it was amazing the difference between the attitude difference between those two kids. And I fear that as much as I know that like you said, that I might have the cure for this. They come and ask you a question, you know, and we also know how good this would be for them. They need to know how to sweep a floor as a kid.
Yes.
You need to know. I don't care if you don't want to know. You need to know this, period. But I have a feeling that a lot of times I can kind of push them away from it. And if I give them too much of the 10 times right in a row, they get that look. And, and so, you know, I'm just, you know, kind of venting out loud on the show. Is just that I'm still struggling with that as a young teacher, I guess, is knowing when to kind of back off with the, you know, the do it kind of stuff. And, but they never get any better unless I don't do that stuff. You know, so I'm just trying to find the balance, I guess. But another thing I was going to ask you. So the way that we know each other is I went and talked to your brother. I interrupted him in a lesson one time and asked him if he knew a teacher for me, and he sent me over to you. And so after I had gone really hard up through college, you know, probably was feeling great, playing great. And then after college, I went and started doing a lot of rock and roll and some other stuff. And I could tell that I was starting to like squeeze a lot and play, you know, just, you know, and I could tell that even 15 minutes in, I was starting to get tight. And so when I went over and asked you, you know, give me a year's worth of technique, you know, I was like, I want technique, I want it, you know. And you were showing me something really interesting, and so what you were suggesting is what we get taught a little bit. This is what I got from you is we're taught to, you know, squeeze hard on that chin, you know, and have loose here, tight here, you know, and you were suggesting to consider doing it a little bit more opposite of hold up here more and relax this shoulder, relax the chin. And I thought that was interesting. And the other thing that was really funny is that when you told me to do that, all of a sudden this got better. This got more loose. And you were explaining how, and this would be for snare drum, this would be for guitar, piano, all this shoulder stuff you were talking about is just, you know, you're all, you know,
Really.
Could you like just kind of do a mini demonstration of that, just showing everybody what that type of idea
posture,
is, the posture kind of thing?
Okay. I think actually, can you hold this
Sure,
for a little bit? And sometimes the terminology, for me, in my opinion, sometimes could be a little misleading. For example, you know, we call bow hold, violin hold, hold. Feel like, you know, like they're okay, or even can I here chin rest, and this is what I call chin rest. Look, if you really put your chin on the chin rest, that's why a lot of students look like this. For me, it's more of a jaw rest. We call it my jaw. You know, the part right here, click. You know, tilting up is to click with jaw. You want to look. You know, if you really put the chin on the chin rest, that's why you look. Okay. So for me, I think
then bow grip.
Exactly.
Another grip. Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wrong word. Yeah.
So for me, you know, to hold up the violin is like you're balancing a pencil, right? You have point A and point B. Yeah, exactly. So you're balancing. You're not holding. Yeah. So basically, I think the point A is right here. If we put these deep in our neck and then jaw and chin, and then you have to balance this. That's, you know, A and B basically. There's no, this require, there's no this required.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I mean, sometimes yes, we do need the freedom of left hand when we're shifting. Okay, especially downward shift. When you have downward shift, you do have to stabilize this so you can get around.
Support, right?
Exactly. I mean, for upward, for the ascending, you know, like we're talking about ascending shift, you know, basically your hand just fall. So it doesn't require much this for it. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about anything tension is not good.
Yes.
So the thing that we're talking about is kind of understanding it tension free. You know, there is nothing that we talk about require tension right here. And even when we're talking about balancing, so you're balancing, you know, so you can finish the downward shift. After you shift, you still make sure, you know, go back to the regular balancing. Now, I know a lot of students, they do this a lot. You know, they feel, you know, this is sore. My hand is sore. But actually, you know, like if you do an experiment, you know, if I ask you to do this all day, this is actually more relaxing than, this is actually more tiring. This is more relaxing. See, because your shoulder is more level and you're balancing it with, you know, like your arm is kind of sitting onto your shoulder a little bit. This, it makes your shoulder this way.
That's interesting.
Okay. So another thing. Now, another thing is, you know, people feel like, you know, it's, I mean, when you hold up the instrument, I usually remind myself that, you know, if you let go your head, the violin should slip into your neck. Rather than slip out. So if you
look at how high up you are, right there. You know, you're not down.
Exactly. So think about this. If you are balancing it this way, the violin is already slipping into your neck.
Into you.
Exactly. Why do you need to stop it from falling? You don't need to. So you know, just think about I mean, a little concept like this, and you will start to understand it. Actually, none of it require tension. I mean, we do need a little bit of the weight of the head, but which just enough that I call rest. Just let your head rest on top of the instrument. We're talking about just still balancing, but not this, because no need, because see, we're not stopping. I mean, the violin is already getting into your neck anyway, so you don't need to do this to
and this is where, like I said, like all of this kind of stuff, all of us teachers kind of know most of this, you know, most of the technique. My problem is that, well, I already know this, they don't, you know, and that's why I keep, it's why on every teacher I get on here I talk about motivation, because it doesn't matter, it feels like it doesn't matter that I know all of this, it's that they don't care. That's why like, you know, I don't know if you know the word like to trump something here that we have here is that, like, I'm fascinated by the stuff that trumps other stuff. All the knowledge I have the greatest book ever written and nobody picks it up. You know what I mean? You have the greatest teacher ever written, but they don't care. You know, it's like, so that's why I'm so frustrated by it, because, and so we know that, I mean, I know them, you know, doing their curve and the up thing, and then the bow grid, like you know. So I already know all that, you know, and I know that they need to know it. If they want this to sound good, if they want to actually feel good, if they want to actually have more fun playing music, you can actually get onto Tchaikovsky. You can get onto this hard, really difficult, really fun music. But we got to go through this stuff first. Well, you know what I mean? I'm just so frustrated that like that. And I don't know if this is like this over in Asia, where I wonder if the discipline that is cultural over there is probably pretty different than the culture in America. But you know, I would guess that a lot of people always want to get to the good stuff. I don't think that's an American thing. I think that's everybody. Everybody wants to be Michael Jordan or Yo-Yo Ma right now, but over here we have more of a, I just feel like it's more of a culture to just kind of let it go. Well, okay, you know, the discipline and stuff. It's more, and so I wonder if there's a lot of that I'm not going to be able to fix on my own. I mean, I'm fighting a whole entire American culture, you know, like, good luck, Rob, you know, like, and so. I don't know where it kind of went with that, but I'm just that's just keeps frustrating.
Yeah, I think
me.
it's hard to find a happy balance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's actually, you know, like the era. I mean, the time that I was growing up, you know, I have to say my mom is a tiger mom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like but you know, if you ask me, one of the best present she gave me is that she stayed through with me, so that I can, you know, like realize I can experiment, you know, what is, you know, I mean the skill that I have to say my brother and I had, we had to go back and thank both of our parents.
Yeah.
My dad would be metronome, and every time I'm practicing, my mom is watching me, my dad is watching my brother, and I mean there's a lot of time and energy that they are. I mean that's how much they, you know, they devote into. I mean we didn't have a lot of activity. I mean violin was one of the 2 or 3 activities that we do. Yeah, but of course, you know, sometimes we do it too much. You know, we didn't let the kids to go out and experiment.
Which is important.
This is important too. But I think it's important to find you know, I'm a parent of 2 boys, so I'm trying to learn how to find a happy medium, because we don't want them to, all they know is violin. You know, we want them to, but I think, so this is what, I mean, just me, you know, I try to limit my boy to 3 activities a year.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, just enough that they get to experience maybe a sport, a violin, and maybe swimming. You know, like or something that of his choice. You know, and we try to so that they get to the details.
Yes.
Of those activities. You know, one of the things that people ask me, hey, so they play 20 years of violin. You know what? You know, and they didn't become a musician. So what did they learn? You know, one of the very big things is their attention to detail.
Yes.
This is a key to success.
Yeah.
You go to you're talking about restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, chef, you know, put a salt and attention to detail. You know, sometimes you go to a restaurant, you don't want to go back anymore. Maybe just because of that pinch of salt.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you go to an interview, you didn't win the interview because just that too detail you missed, but someone who went extra mile. So they're
gonna get it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's an attitude. It's something that, you know, it's so multitasking that they have to pay attention to all the details to be able to do those 10 things at the same time. At the same time, you know, you are developing their creativity, because it's not just routine. You know.
Yeah.
So but you know, I think the thing you were talking about, how to tell them this is good for you. I mean, I have a little something. I feel like you know, like there are good successful rate, you know, among my students. I try to let them. It's a little bit like, I mean, as a teacher, we have to kind of pace ourselves too. You know, if we can't give them the whole cheesecake.
Right.
You know, at the one, you know, we know they need cheesecake, but sometimes I'll tell myself, okay, so this student is not practicing at all. Okay. So my goal for this month is for them to at least have 2 bites of the cheesecake, right? So now once they taste how good the cheesecake is, they might want to have a little more. So I mean, for the music student is, I mean, you just I mean, I give them very, very rigid expectation of, you know, like I don't say just go home and practice. You know, I said you do 20 times of this a day.
Yeah. Make it specific.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Record it for me.
Yeah. Wow.
So they will. You know. I mean, it's like, no, I practice and record it, so they know. I mean, you know, and ask them to you're going to see the recording. They will record it for you. 20 times is 20 times, and then, you know, I mean, of course, you know, just tell them, you know, we have to. Yeah, I mean, I try to talk them in that like reasonable way. I say it doesn't need to be perfect, but I need to see a progress.
Right.
At least I need to see you are not doing this or that, and 20 times a day.
That could get them into their phone kind of stuff too. Maybe that could be kind of fun for them
Yeah,
to make them
yeah,
record it, so they get
exactly.
to use their little device.
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
set it
yeah.
here. And,
You know, it's another
okay,
present
you
trick
know.
also, because sometimes when they don't practice, you know, I you know, most of my parents think that's genius. Have them record it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, they don't know if they are, but if they know you're watching his practice, they will be, yeah. So once they start to do just that little bit, something will improve. Okay, I think, you know, like, you're gonna be that bad guy in the beginning, but once they start to, for example, they sound good at studio recital,
Right.
okay, or they go back to their orchestra, their teachers say, hey,
You're sounding
you
good.
improve.
Yeah.
What did you do? Or maybe sometimes, you know, because they sound good, maybe sometimes the orchestra directors say, well, what, can you show everybody your bow hole? Your bow hole looks nice. Okay, so all of this, they start to taste, and then you will be the good guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, you know,
Right.
it takes the first step.
Yeah.
You have to, you know, like, once they have a good performance, once they start to taste, to hear how much they improve. You know, sometimes the parents say, hey, I think your sound is getting better.
See, that's what I was saying at the beginning. See, I think that's where the real motivation happens.
Exactly.
Is when the kid goes, hey, I'm actually sort of good at this.
Yeah.
You know, I look at all these people that are approving of my work that I've done and my improvement and what I like. I think that's real motivation.
Exactly.
That's what makes people keep playing.
Exactly.
Is when they hit that 7th grade and they go, I've played 3 or 4 years now and I can like play Vivaldi, A minor. So yeah, I mean, I'm playing a piece. You know, I can do something and I sound like I'm not a knucklehead. You know, you know, I'm sort of like, I can kind of do it. You know, so. But anyway, enough about that. The one other thing that I've seen a lot is, I'll show the camera this, is they'll set this, you know, right on their shoulder. And this is another one that you were talking about, those words of chin rest or hold or whatever.
Yeah, yes.
But this is one I think that is right. And I'm like, dude, it's a shoulder rest. You know, you're doing a chest rest right now. You know, it's and you were talking about it, you know, up here, and now to show the camera. Now look at this. This is on my shoulder, you know, like, and so all the holding things I think is really, and just publicly, I was mentioning that I came to you and it was 15 minutes and I was tired and, you know, tight and whatever, and I went from that to like 3-hour shows with no pain.
Wow.
You know, I mean, like the stuff that you were saying of quit gripping on your chin, you know, relax your shoulders, relax your back, sit, you know, don't, you know, sit up, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was like that drastic of a difference. So I mean, I'm proof of this general idea being a very good idea. But it was the 3-hour shows with my band, and you know, you'd start playing that 3-4 hours in a row. I mean, you're gonna start to kind of stretch your hands, and I mean, there's a limit to you got to stop eventually, you know. But 3-hour shows are like,
that's pretty good.
Kind of no issue at all. I mean,
that's very good.
I'm tired, but not tight. Like my, you know, tendons and stuff are not tight after 3 hours, but I'm tired because it's been 3 hours. But yeah, and then and the one other one that I'll just describe to you, and I don't know if the people can see this, but you gave me a page basically of technique, and I went home for like a year, you know, and then came back in a year because and this is really important, and I think you hit on this earlier, is that I had 26-year bad habits, you know, some 26-year good habits, but a couple of them were bad. And one of the worst ones, probably the worst one that you gave me that was the most annoying, is the fact that I was putting, I don't know if the camera can see this, but I was putting my fingers way over on this side of every string. Yeah, and so I was barely on the string, and you were like, no. You know, you're talking about it breathing under the string, you know, and God, that was annoying. That was the worst one, my worst habit out of the 10 or whatever that we talked about that day. but boy, especially when I'm over on the A and E ish, and then I'm going back over to a low string, I don't get it all the way over. I just kind of cheat and get it barely enough. You know, like I mean, you can see that. Like that's what I would like to do.
Yes.
And I need to get it over. You know, the string needs to be hitting the middle of my finger, not on the
finger pad.
the side. And so that was just one of those that myself that was really hilariously annoying. You know, like I'm sitting there like, you know, and it's like I said, it's especially when I'm anywhere over here going to a lower string is that I have to, you know, get up and around.
Yeah.
So like, you know, even somebody who likes to go attention to detail, you know, it's still,
you know,
it's still annoying.
I have to say it's you know, cello compared to violin, cello is more natural. We're talking about laying your hand right here and viola and violin is shoulder held. You know, you have to help, you know, with the shoulders. And this is not a natural position. I mean, you don't go out and just talk to people like that. And so I think to most of the beginner student or even intermediate student, this is the most difficult and most commonly seen habit. They do this because, I mean, this will be natural. This is not.
That extra turn.
Exactly. And the thing is, you know, I can give you like at least 20 good benefit of, you know, my teacher used to say, you know, when I was playing Cal Flash, you know, third, sixth, you know, all those double stuff, he would say, if your hand, he called this high hand. If your hand's not high, it doesn't work. You won't be able to play.
Yeah, you won't be able to do it.
And also, here, let me quickly show you. You know, like, I mean, our hand is like a table. Yeah, like it should, you know, the end joint should stand up and it should shake. I mean, sometimes people do this. Now, when they do this, you know, people, I mean, now sometimes people talk about arm vibrato, wrist vibrato. We're talking about if this doesn't move, even if it's this like this, even you do arm or wrist, you see, you can shake all you want. This is not gonna move.
Right.
Yeah. So you know, it just have to be a table which you know which shake. You know, which you can allow it to.
Last quick question. You talked a little bit about your brother, and I know that sometimes when people have musical families, they'll get some crazy families that they'll have like 6 musician brothers and sisters, and it's funny to me that a lot of times you don't see those 6 playing any of the same instruments. You know, and so for example, like one will pick trumpet, and the other one will be like, "Oh, well, no, I'm not doing trumpet. I'm a drummer, yeah." And you know, and then the other one will be like, "I don't want to be like him. I'm violin," you know. And like, did you? I know when you have, and especially when you have a family that is high in discipline and hard work or whatever. Did you, because I know obviously that you're, you know, playing on a high level and you have for a while, and obviously Scott is too with, you know, UMKC. Did you guys ever have any kind of like rivalry a little bit, or was it a friendly or nothing, or was it like?
Well, I think our musical relationship is more of like good listeners to each other. You know, I mean, still now he would show me. You know, whenever he has performance or something, he will play for me and see what I, you know, what I think. Do I have any suggestions? And I will do the same to him too. You know, I'll play. I'll send my student to him and have lesson with him, and then sometimes he will send his student and you know.
He sent me to you. But that's like adult, you know. Obviously adult. You know, you mature and like, of course you all that petty stuff. But it was.
I wouldn't call it a rivalry. I mean, it's more like you know, like boys like to compete. You know, who plays the fastest?
Right, sure.
You know, or like this slide, that slide, he would be like, you know, and they were like, no, it should be like, oh, come on.
But that's pretty innocent. You know, I mean, that's just normal.
Crap, you know? I mean, we are about 2.5 years apart.
Okay, so pretty close.
So you know, we never had to through when we were growing up, we never have to enter. I mean, the competition in Taiwan is always separated about 3 years apart. I mean, our age is enough for us to not be in the same category. So we never play in the same category before, or And you know, I don't know. I don't remember any rivalry. I mean,
Yeah.
something I'll call rivalry. I mean,
Yeah.
we do have a group of people who study with the same teacher.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we would every time after school dismissal, you know, we all have to go to our teacher's house to practice. I mean, one would take the laundry room, the other one, all the bedroom are
Yeah,
taken.
that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll have a studio class, and then just, you know, because we're all preparing for competition. And our teacher, I remember our teacher had like, I don't know, big house, 7 rooms, and we all like even
Scattered
even
and-
bathroom has someone practicing.
Right.
Yeah, but you know, we all sort of growing up each other, you know, like growing up together. So I mean, like we hang out together like brothers, and you know.
Yeah.
So
You guys have to know
I mean-
a ton of the same people in town.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
The same business. and,
exactly.
you know,
So it becomes
yeah.
a good, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess why I'm mentioning that is because, again, kind of last thing in this motivation stuff, I always forget how important, like, because with the motivation, I keep wondering that it's all going to be coming from me. So the student's motivation is all going to be coming from me, and that's 100% false, because the concert itself is not me. You know, the concert is this external thing that they have to practice for. And it's not just them sitting in a room and they're practicing, but now they have this other thing that they're like practicing up for. And obviously like other kids at school, you know, just like the brothers are sitting there, oh, yeah, I can play that, you know, and you get all annoyed and mad that he's playing it faster. And
yes.
so I think the other kids at school can, obviously your peers can be like that too. And
Yes.
that's why I think it's really cool that for us as private teachers that we can have this, what is the word, ally at school as the school teacher, you know, is
Yes.
also helpful. Like
Yes.
you're saying, hey, get your rhythm right. And then you go over to the teacher and they're like, hey, get your rhythm right. You know, the
Yes.
student is hearing the same crap
Yes.
from both people.
Yeah.
Hey, practice hard. Hey, bow grip. Hey, you know, play in tune. Hey, you know, and so I keep forgetting that can be more powerful than the teacher sometimes. Is you like, maybe there's a kid that you really don't like at school and you can't really put your finger on it, and maybe one of the reasons is because they're second chair and you're back you know, in the back or something. I don't know. So I guess my point is that I keep thinking that this is all on me. 100% of this is on the teacher, and maybe that's putting too much, you know, too much pressure on myself a little bit. And there's some stuff that's out of my control, and there's some stuff that when they have that moment, maybe that they're annoyed at the other kid and they want to get first chair, or they see the kid getting the little, in the middle of the symphony song, they get the solo.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I want that, you know, and, you know,
Yeah.
and then, but now you're there as the teacher, right? When they do have that moment that they do want to kind of start pushing, then you've already taught them some stuff, or you're there now. Is that a healthy way to look at that? That I can't just put it all on myself.
I think, you know, as a teacher, I mean, if you ask me, I test the water for each kid. I push first, and I try to know how far I can push for each kid. I mean, there are kids before. I mean, my former student. I mean, they actually there were examples that maybe I pushed too hard, that they actually switch studio. You know, I mean, they are. You know, I mean, they are. But of course, as a teacher, I need to set a standard too. I mean, at least. You know, I mean, the standard that I have is not like, okay, you all have to play like a 3-octave cow flash. Not everyone's different. Yeah. But the standard is, at least everyone should, first of all, you know, like the respect, you know, I mean, they all, you know, I mean, they need to trust you. And, you know, I mean, respect comes from trust.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing that you talk about, they will take it seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, they are like,
if they don't trust you, they're not going to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes I'll be the one saying, maybe you should look for someone else, because I don't think I can help you much.
Yeah.
You know, from this point. Yeah. But the thing is, we need to build up that trust and respect. Yeah. And I think that's the part that, you know, once they taste the success,
Right.
once or twice, they will start to trust you more and more.
Right.
The thing that you say, they will become, oh, okay, I need to do that.
Right.
Sometimes you just I think I test them a little bit. I give them, and if you see they start to maybe pull back a little bit, and some students like to enjoy the music
Right.
too. So,
Right.
I tell them, okay, you have 30 minutes. I plan it out for them. I said, okay, so this piece, this week when you go home, okay, you should be practicing 30 minutes a day. So 15 minutes on this, and 15 minutes I'll let you enjoy your music.
Yeah.
But while you're enjoying your music, see how much that you can still
Right.
apply. At least for first 2 lines, do this, and then I'll let you enjoy the music. And sometimes it's just, figuring out each, sometimes they are not, my kids are, sometimes my kids is my boy practicing. I know they are not doing sometimes they make mistake. I can't help myself in the beginning. I have to be there. Every time they make mistake, I go there and try switch, change. But I go back. I can't take myself out of his practice.
Yeah.
But later on, I start to learn. I have to give him 15 minutes, even if it's wrong. Figuring out is part of the learning process.
Yeah.
But you are right. It's how much. They have to be the one who want it. It's like golf. You go to driving range. I have coaching. I go to driving range. I hire a coach to improve my swing. But what for?
Yeah.
What drives me go back and take more lesson, practice more is I seeing my score.
Right. Yeah.
The number of my
That's not what it's in.
Exactly.
Internal,
Next time I'm gonna go, my friend. I'm not gonna be the handicap. I'm gonna take from the blue cap, or I'm gonna start from here. I'm gonna impress my friend.
Yeah.
Those are the things that what keeps you. If they keep coming to the lesson, and keep practicing, they don't know what that is for.
Yeah.
So you.
I keep saying last thing because I could talk about this all day. I love this stuff. But what is hilarious to me, and this happens literally every single show that I play with my band, somebody comes up to me and goes, "Oh, I love violin. It's so great. I played in 4th grade and I already know it and then I quit, right? I know it's the next sentence that they're gonna say, but and then the next thing I hear from them is, I wish my parents would have kept me in that, and that sends me rolling angry, you made my, as the kid, you're looking at the parent as the kid, you made my life hell for 2 years because I wanted you to do this, and the kid was like, I don't want to do it, and then now 20 years later you're coming back and saying, I wish I would have kept with it. That's where I'm just frustrated with the I know. Put my clock on it. In 20 years, you're going to be saying this, and then so whatever.
But I think like what you say, as a teacher, we need to pace ourselves too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want them to do well, so badly, but I had to do a little tweaking from my teaching over every year too. There were students that I know she's so close on the technique. So every time she come, I give her we had 1 hour lesson. I give her 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes technique. Because I believe if she get that, she will be great on her Haydn concerto, this and that. And she did practice. She went home. Maybe the practice was not efficient practice, or I teach her how to practice and everything, but I start to feel like because I'm she was so close, so I got really I would be like yes do this, do that, and sometimes I feel like kill the love a little bit.
I know.
You see what I mean? It's a lot. So and I can. There was a time that I start to discover she's not as look as happy to play her instrument. It's as she get more tight because she was thinking about a lot of technique and this and that. So and then I start to tell myself also another voice, hey, So I would check with her. You know, there was a lesson that I don't feel like she was doing the work, and I think she did. She said she did practice and this, and so we talk a little bit, and you know, I think you know, and then I tell myself, you know, I mean, the most important thing is she enjoyed playing her music.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not like lazy student or
Right,
anything,
yeah.
but we as a teacher, we think we want to. That's the best gift we can give it to them.
Yeah.
Right? Before she graduated from high school, you want to push her to as far as you can.
Yeah.
But the thing is, sometimes, you know, I mean, it's hard to, you know, it's I think it's tricky to find a balance.
Yeah.
So as a teacher, then I step back. I said, you know I can keep pushing. Maybe that was a goal I set for myself, not her. You know, I mean, she would enjoy more if she would get to play this or enjoy more music, or maybe, and then, you know, we start to do another, you know, I start to let her play more. I mean, of course, we still talk about discipline, all that, but you know, the balance is a little different. It's different.
Yeah.
She actually improved much more after
Yeah.
that. So yeah, you know, it's I think it's a balance that we as a teacher have to you know, pace
right,
ourselves
yeah.
too. So
Well, cool, man. I mean, that's probably good. Thanks for coming, man.
thank you for inviting me.
Jackie Lee,
Pleasure.
teacher and player here in Kansas City, and that was fun, man.
Yeah,
talking
it was
about
very
violin
fun.
stuff.
Yes.
I've had way too many bass players and drummers on this show so far. Way too many. I'm tired of them. They need to just do something. I need more like fiddle players and violin players and stuff. I need to. I'm tired of you drummers and bass players out there. I'm tired of you guys. But anyway, cool. All right, we'll be back next time with some more talking about music stuff. So take it easy. See ya.